Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sunday Flex and Reflect, Sunday Sit Down. So let's go through some questions that have come through. Thanks for sending them through. What are some lesser known wellness routines that can have a big impact on overall health? Well, when we think about our overall health and wellness, we generally think about, okay, you've got to get to the gym, you've got to be doing all your meal prepping, you've got to be, dieting, you've got to be really strict on things like that. And look, the way that I work with people is we've got to have sustainable practices in all of those things, as well as, your cardio aspects and all that kind of stuff. But I guess it's implied that you've got to thrash yourself every single day, and that's just not true. I suppose the lesser known part for me, where I think the real growth is and the change for your overall health and wellness, is what's going on up here. And so I do believe that I've spoken about this before, but the next global pandemic that we're going to have, we're experiencing it right now. I'm not talking about things like COVID, I'm talking about mental health and the impact that people's poor mental health is having on their overall health and wellness outcomes, which includes the physical, but also what's going on inside them, and then it controls what they do, what they don't do, what they're eating, etc., etc. And so for me, it's about really harnessing here. How do we change this so that every single day we're focusing on how do we get the better version of ourselves happening today compared to yesterday? What can I do today to make it better than yesterday? So like at the time of recording this, it's a Sunday. And so what I do is I look at everything that I've got it on my iPad here. I just use Apple Notes, and I sit down and I write down what are the things that I want to achieve over this next week. Some of them are transactional things, and some of them are because that's just the nature of things that you need to do. And so, for instance, I've got this week. I think it's this week, so my visa bill is due, for instance, so that's on there. That's a transactional thing. But then I'll have transformational things on there too. So like a new marketing campaign, creating my changes to my websites, adding a new product, a new service, or recreating programs for some of my clients because they've just had fitness assessments. It's like, okay, so now we're at that stage where they're in the next 12-week training cycle, so I need to do some transformational things for them, which means that I've got to change what it is that I'm doing. And also part of that is about me. What am I doing for me to help me grow every day? So I've got those foundational things that I do for my physical health and wellness, like my food, my training, all that kind of stuff. But it's what's going on up here. So I read some things that I really enjoy. So you've heard me talk about like Muscle and Fitness magazine and so forth. It's no longer in print, but I've got old copies that I use that to get ideas, inspiration, and so forth. Looking at online, I use ChatGPT to have various conversations and so forth there. And I'm looking at stuff for my business side of things. What can I do to grow? How can I add more value to clients? How can I study another business? So like some of the most successful brands in the world, how can I take those things and apply it to my life and my business? I look at relationships and communication and how do I become a better coach? How do I become a better human being? All those types of things help me grow, even if it's that little bit every single day. And to me, that is the secret to growing you, making progress, because it's the secret to happiness in life is progress. If you're not seeing yourself as making progress every single day, then you're either staying here or going backwards. And so we want to keep on growing. So for me, that is the lesser known secret to your overall wellness, getting that right and focusing on it 7 days a week, no exception, 7 days a week, and you watch just how much you will grow. That's a good question. So I've got to keep an eye on my cat Whiskers. It's cold out here this morning. He likes to jump the fence. All right, what are some common nutrition myths you've encountered, and what's the truth behind them? So I'll tell you one of them. You're probably not expecting this one, but I think there's a myth that all vegans and vegetarians are very, very healthy. It's not true at all. The clients that have come to me in the past that have been vegetarian or vegan are some of the most unhealthy people that I've come across. Why? Because they, I'm just generalizing here and talking about the experience that I've had with people that have come to see me as clients. They've eliminated meat, and it's normally women. Actually, I don't have any. I've had a couple of vegetarian males, but most of them are women. that I've had, they eliminate meat altogether, and then if they're vegan, they're eliminating other key ingredients, products, etc., which then has a negative impact on normally their iron levels, because they're not then making sure they've got a balanced nutritional profile across. Like if you imagine the whole plate, it's not nutritionally balanced. Normally low in protein, it can be lower in fats depending. Sometimes it's too high in fats, but it's just not nutritionally balanced. Normally not high energy carbs in there as well. And so what I think we're going to see in maybe the next generation, maybe it's 20 years time, you're going to see all these people that are showing up with these medical issues, these health and wellness issues that have been as a result of them becoming vegan or vegetarian and not getting the right advice and not following a proper, structured, nutritionally balanced meal plan. Because if you think about it, when you're vegetarian or vegan, you've removed certain food groups, right? So that means you've got to make sure that, well, where's your protein coming from now? Do you even know where your protein's coming from? A lot of people will also remove those high energy carbs. Okay, these are important macronutrients that you need for your overall health and well-being. So it's not that you can't live the healthy lifestyle like that, but where are you getting those things from? And most don't get the education to know how to do it. And then I have had a lot of vegetarian clients that, they're not eating like meat and so forth, but they're eating a lot of high processed foods. That's where they're getting their extra calories from. But it's not nutritionally balanced. So there is a real myth around anyone that's vegetarian or vegan is just naturally healthy. It is not true. And you need to get the right advice for it. I'm not saying that it's not a great lifestyle to live. I'm not a vegetarian or vegan, but I encourage everybody to eat more plant food, just because as adults, we are not getting enough in for our overall health and well-being. Okay, how can someone balance a demanding work schedule and maintaining a healthy lifestyle? Well, I think I've talked about this one before. Again, it comes down to the mindset, comes down to the priority. So we all have various competing challenges and priorities in our life. I normally find that we've got three big ones. So you've got family, you've got work, you've got health. Now, I mention those in that order because that is normally the order that people put them in. And where's health? It's last. You need to flip it so that health is number one. And when you do that and you realize that it requires some thinking time on your part to say, well, okay, I'm going to put it as number one. That's easy to say, but how do you show up for that every day? Well, as soon as you start to connect that a healthier you, a stronger you, a more vibrant you is going to be more focused, more energized, that means you're going to get more done. And you attach those qualities to the other aspects of your life. So your work life, your family life, then you're going to show up better. You could show up better for your kids, show up better for your partner, show up better for your business, your career, your colleagues, the staff members, whatever role it is that you're playing. You will just be better. So as soon as you make that connection, you will be better. And then you will, think about it like this. If right now your child was about to die, you would stop everything and you would go and tend to do that right now and say, bang, I've got to take care of this child right now. They've stopped breathing. I've got to give them CPR. I've got to get them to the hospital. Got to make sure, see what's going on. I will do whatever it takes to save them. Usually, even if that means sacrificing your own life, you will do it, right? That's how important it is. You need to approach your own health and wellness the same way. And when you do and you make those connections, that's when you will schedule your workouts at certain times of the week. You'll schedule going out for a walk because you attach all of that is resulting in you being better for those other important things in your life as well. So it's a journey to do it, but you've just got to switch your priorities and then just look, honestly, and this is why I say reach out to me for a free consultation so we can talk about what are the challenges. And some people just can't see, well, it just seems too overwhelming. Like I said in the first question, people say, I've got to be in the gym for hours. I've got to be doing cardio for hours. I've got to be dieting and stuff. If you've got that mindset, it's wrong and it will not be sustainable. I don't approach life like that. I've been doing this for 36 years. You need a realistic plan for you. okay, what's going to work for you? So reach out for a consultation with me. You can have a conversation and get you moving in the right direction. I'll put a link below this today for you. Could you share some effective mindfulness techniques for reducing stress and enhancing focus? Well, okay, so I think let's do the focus one first. So like I said, if you've put your health and wellness as your number one priority, you will find that you're just showing up better and you will be more focused as a result of that. So I think that's the first thing. Have a look at what's going on in your lifestyle that is detracting from that focus. So if you think about it, every single thing that you put in your mouth, for instance, like whether it's a liquid of some sort, whether it's food, some people smoke, some people are doing other sorts of things as well. Think about, is this moving me closer to a better health and fitness goals, like getting me closer to those, or is it moving me further away? And so if it's moving you further away, you've got to ask that question. All right, so do I want to go further away, or do I want to exceed it? So am I going to do it because it's going to take away from me? Now, that's not to say that you can't, have some, I don't know, say if you want fish and chips or whatever. It doesn't mean that you can't do that, but you're not going to make that your staple where you do it every single day. From time to time, these things are okay. But I always ask myself those questions, and then that will help support a better mindset and that focus. Now, in terms of the reducing stress, in the most stressful moments of my life, I focus on breathing. So whether it's say in bed where you can't switch your brain off or whatever's going on, and then I close my eyes and I do these deep breathing exercises. So if you want to keep it simple, so you breathe in through your nose slowly for the count of 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, repeat that maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and you'll find that your heart rate comes down. You're starting to focus on your breathing and the counting rather than what's going on in your life, and then that can really help. I think also like just going out for a walk in nature. I'm sitting outside here today. It's a lovely morning. Just being in nature enables you to just processing by yourself. So you're out walking, you're feeling, you're allowing it's like whatever it is, you're just allowing it to just kind of release. I think that's really powerful too. And again, like I mentioned before about if you focus on what it is that you can do to improve you, that's also really important. The other one that I do, I think I mentioned this last week, I ask myself three sort of questions so that I don't allow the negative things to come into my life. So where's the growth in this? What can I learn from this? What's the opportunity from this? If you answer those 3 questions and you refuse to answer them negatively, then you'll find that you only come up with solutions. So it's easy to come up with problems, easy, right? The hard part is coming up with that solution-based thinking, and that's where we want you to go. And then you'll find that you start to focus on the positive side of things rather than that bottomless pit of despair and so forth. So Whiskers is sleeping on the sun lounge in the sun. All right, what are the key strategies for preventing injuries during workouts, especially for beginners? Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it's always important to warm up first. For me, people say, okay, jump on a treadmill, piece of cardio, whatever, 3 to 5 minutes, and then go do what it is that you want to do. Personally, the way that I do it, I use a resistance band to warm up my shoulders and my chest and everything. First, I'll do that for, it's probably 5 minutes, just get the blood circulating. And then what I'll do is I'll always do a light set. So if we use a bench press, for instance, I might just start with the, let's just say I'm using an Olympic bar, so that 20 kilos. I will do a set of 12 on 20. And essentially I won't work through all the sets, but I just keep working up with the plates, and I'll do anywhere between 3 to 5 warm-up sets first, and then I'll do 2 working sets just on the very first exercise that I do, and then I'll move on into the other exercise. And I always start off with, I don't know, let's just say that you're going to 30 kilos in something. Well, you might start at the 20, you might go 25, and then you go 30. And if you're a beginner, you should still remain in that 10 to 12 sort of repetition mark. I mean, when you're first starting out, people can want to lift too heavy too quickly. It's all about the technique. Just get the technique right. There's so many people doing exercise the wrong way. Just have a look on Instagram or the TikTok or things like that, and you'll see all the fails and that kind of stuff. It's people trying to lift too much weight too quickly, and usually with horrible form. Forget about that. We want to set you up for success for the rest of your life, injury free. So they'd be the tips, and making sure, look, honestly, if you've never stepped into the gym before and done a lot of these exercises, you watch them on, let's say, a video and say, oh yeah, that looks interesting, I'll go do that. You need to use a coach. Like, seriously, just invest in a coach so that you can get your technique right. Like, if I was starting all over again in today's environment, it was different when I started in 1988. Yeah, it was just different. Like, there was people around that would show you what to do and stuff. And I learned in like a professional powerlifting, bodybuilding type gym, small type gym, and so there were plenty of experts there that could help you get the technique right. But if I was doing it again today, I would go straight to somebody that I followed that was great in technique. I would see them in person, and because you want hands on your body kind of thing. So it's like, let's say you're doing a deadlift, very technical. You want someone to, hands on your body, so don't know you need your butt needs to go down, shoulders need to come up, shoulders back, chest out, push through the heels. And sometimes you just need that sort of correction, bracing your abs, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I would do today. So invest in that first, get your technique right, and then just gradually build. And again, it's the right type of program for you based on everybody's different, right? So everybody needs some tailored programming for them based on their age, their medical conditions, what is it they want to achieve, etc. So you're constantly moving closer and closer. All right, we'll go through a couple more. How does sleep affect physical performance and recovery? What are your tips for improving sleep quality? All right, so one of the things that I discovered about my own self is just the power of sleep and what stress does to your body. Now, there's that stress that you might think of, oh, I'm stressed because of, you're flustered, whatever. But there's the stress that we just put our bodies through each and every day. We're working hard, we're doing workouts. We push ourselves really hard, right? So that causes inflammation. Stress causes inflammation in our body, and really the only way to get rid of that effectively, you can do some therapies and stuff, but it's through that deep sleep. And what's really powerful is the number of hours sleep you get before midnight, right? The number of hours you get of sleep before midnight, that helps you recover much better. And so where I saw this show up for me is in DEXA scans. So DEXA scans you can have for bone density. I was doing it for body composition. Remember back to, this would be 2022. Had a good year. So COVID was really good for me in terms of my training. So from March, we were locked down in 2020. So from March through to the end of 2020, I had a photo shoot. I was in good shape, but I wanted to do even better the next year. So for me, I train naturally. I've been training for 36 years, and because of my age and everything, it's hard to put on muscle. So my goal was to put on 2 kilos of muscle in the second year of this extra focus. So I worked so hard for what it was I wanted to achieve, the workouts, the focus, the food, etc. And so by the end of the year, I went back and had a DEXA scan. Now, before I went into the DEXA scan, I looked better, my six-pack was more defined, and I thought, yeah, I reckon I've put on, 1.5 kilos, maybe not 2 kilos of muscle. I then got the results, and the reality was I lost 900 grams of muscle. And that, look, honestly, I was devastated, because I was like, man, I've worked so hard, I look better. But then I went away and I looked at the photos from the year before and everything. And I had a conversation with my strength and conditioning coach, and we got to understand just the impact that what my daughter was going through at the time with all her, she had terminal illness, and managing all that, my business and COVID lockdowns and all that. There's a lot going on. And even though I was managing it mentally, just secretly what it was doing behind the scenes was just eating away at me. And my body was just in a constant inflamed state, which was actually consuming my muscle, I suppose, rather than helping it grow and where I thought it was going. So it's really, 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 really powerful. How do you improve it? Well, I think you've got to have a regular routine. You've got to be going to bed. Like for me, I go to bed 9:30 to 10:30 every single night. I do that deep breathing exercise if I'm really stressed, but honestly, I normally fall asleep pretty quickly. But have a consistent routine, have a nice climate, not too lit in your room. They say not to have your phone in the same room or near you, or don't be looking at it before you go to bed. Honestly, I find that I can. So I think that's a bit individualized, but I don't check emails or do anything like that before I go to bed. It's normally things that wind me down. So I might play a game to, keep my mind going or distract it from other stuff that's going on. I always have a shower before I go to bed, like common sense things. Getting the climate right, the right pillow, the right mattress is worth investing in as well. Doing all those sorts of things and just doing them consistently. And if you're having any serious issues with sleeping, then maybe it's some lifestyle factors, maybe it's something else. No caffeine, no substances, anything like that. No high sugary things before for a few hours before you go to sleep. I think that they all help as well. Have I got time for one more question? I'll do this one as the last one. What should we look for when choosing supplements for health and fitness, and are they necessary? Well, I like to think of them as an insurance policy. I mean, if you go I have a Chemist Warehouse, is a big brand here, and they have, I think they would have at least 2 shelves from floor to ceiling of supplements, and they would run 20 or 30 meters deep into the store. So there's a lot of choice out there. You don't need everything, so what I would say for people to start with is just tidy up your eating and making sure that you're getting foods as close to nature as possible. Eat less processed food. Make sure you're getting clean protein in there. Make sure you're getting your 5 to 7 serves of vegetables a day into your daily eating, and that will help flood your brain and your body with nutrients. The difficulty that we have is that we don't know how long our food has been sitting on shelves and what the nutrient value is. We can see, it says what the calories are, but it doesn't give you a nutrient value. So for instance, 2 apples might look the same. One might have, say, 95% nutrition. Another one might have 50 because it's been sitting in storage for 18 months. So we just don't know. So as a general rule, I take a multivitamin, and again, as I say this, you've got to check with your GP, your medical professional, because they know your medical history and what is suitable for you. So don't just listen to me and say, oh, well, I'll go and start taking those. But I'll just tell you what I do. I take a multivitamin because it kind of just fills the voids, the gaps that may exist with any of the food that I am consuming. I take a vitamin D tablet because even though I'm outside at the moment, I am actually undercover, but I went for an early morning walk. But most of the time I'm inside, right? So I don't get enough vitamin D generally. So I take a little of vitamin D. I also have fish oil, which is for my omega-3. Now, not everybody can take those because if you're on blood thinning medications and that kind of stuff, so you need to check that one before you do. But what I do is it helps with joint inflammation. It also helps with immune system. It helps with brain function as well as just good for your skin and nails and all that kind of stuff as well. I take a magnesium one as well. Sometimes after I've done a really heavy leg day, I can find that because you're lying in bed at night, I can get cramps in my quads. So that helps avoid that as well. So, I mean, they're the general ones that I take. They are an insurance policy. I do not rely on them as the sole source of my nutrition because that would be a mistake. And you just got to be careful, like I say, check with your medical professional. So thanks for your questions today. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you next week.